right, so you're asking about Obamacare. My name is Steve Hunt. I'm a health insurance agent. I've been doing this for 15 years. I just think it's fair to point out that every time you look and Obama opens his mouth, it's teachers, cops, firemen. And you know what? Teachers, cops, and firemen are good people. I know this because my parents are teachers, my brother's a cop, and my neighbor's a fireman. And they're all good people, and they all have hopes and dreams and aspirations and mortgages and everything else. You know what? Just like I do. Just like everybody else out there that does. It's funny how these guys can come out and talk about it's only rich people that'll get affected. So I went to the Bureau of Labor Statistics and I looked up the median income of teachers, cops, firemen, and health insurance agents. Kind of interesting. Teachers made 52 and change, cops made 51 and change, health insurance agents made 47 and change, firemen made 45 and change. Seems to me we're equal. Oh, but we're not really equal because teachers, cops, and firemen get pensions and benefits and disability and sick days and God knows what. Whereas us, we get nothing. Matter of fact, most of us are independent contractors. We don't even have any rights. We have to buy the same things that we show people. So it makes perfect sense, I think, in an issue of complete fairness, to give raises to the people that have more and cut the pay of the people that have less. Because after all, it has nothing really to do with being in the middle class. It has to do with being where in the middle class they want you to be.
Well, as an independent contractor, as I was at one time, you get out of it what you put into it. So I would think if you work a little harder, then you would get more income.
Oh, you do. You work harder, you get more income. But the health insurance business, or most insurance, is based around residual income. It's not you sell a policy, they give you $5,000. It's you get whatever it is, $30 a month from each person as they pay it. They come along with a medical loss ratio, which, by the way, they had a deliberate ability to decide whether or not employee compensation would count towards and said no. Note that they didn't say employee compensation up to $250,000 would count, because after all, that's Obama's definition of rich. No, they threw everybody under the bus, whether you made $500,000 or $5,000, didn't matter. So overnight, as of January 1st, 2011, when this thing went into force, all of a sudden everybody went, you know that contract that you've had for the last 8 years? We're reneging on it and you're getting half. Have a nice day. You were asking about saying giving everybody a fixed amount of money and going out. There's two sides to this coin. The issue of underwriting is really a double-edged sword, and both the left and the right have some valid things to say. You know, the left would say it's cherry picking. The right would say, no, why should you punish people who are healthy? And actually, really, they're both somewhat right. It could be that your premium's high because you eat cheeseburgers every day, smoke 2 packs of cigarettes, weigh 400 pounds, and don't exercise. It could be that you're just unlucky enough to be born with, you know, whatever, an illness. The fairer way to do it would be to compromise. You say something like, I don't know, you can rate people 1 to 10. And each bump up is 10%, meaning the sickest guy would pay twice what the healthiest guy would pay, but not 10 times what the healthiest guy would pay. He'd still get a reward for turning around and living a better life, but he wouldn't turn around and get $200 a month while the guy who has a major problem would pay $2,200 a month. It would make it more like the healthier guy would pay $400 and the sick guy would pay $800. And therefore you get some kind of incentive to live better, but by the same token, the people that are unlucky enough to just have medical issues would be able to at least get coverage. So, I mean, there is room for compromise. People just have to want to do it.
Now, it's rare that I hear somebody have a solution to the problem as simple as that. Have you ever talked to one of your elected congressmen about this?
Well, it's funny because you started to say elected officials, and then you say, we have plenty of congressmen in Connecticut. Actually, we have 5 congressmen in Connecticut, and we have 2 senators. By my count, we have 1 representative, and he's retired. The rest of these people don't represent anything. They have no interest whatsoever in what we have to say. You got a Chris Murphy or something? Chris Murphy looks at this whole Affordable Care Act as a horrible, nowhere near left enough solution. This guy just wanted the government to take the whole thing. I would be entirely bankrupt. He doesn't care if I live or die. He's supposedly my representative. I have no chance to bring anything like this to this guy because he isn't going to listen. He doesn't care if I wake up tomorrow or not. So hopefully we get somebody in there that does. We got Andy Rohrbach running against
Elizabeth Esty.
Elizabeth Esty, thank you, in the 5th District. And he's a good guy. He's got a chance. And you got McMahon. She's got a good chance against Murphy. And if one of them wins, yeah, I will. I'll try to go in there and I'll try to present some kind of credible alternatives. What was missing in this whole thing that they created is some guy like me that, I don't know, actually does it for a living, sits down thousands of times with people, knows what they really do. I could have given you this. You could take, instead of 2,700 pages and a complete rewrite of the entire verbal or social contract in America, how about 270 pages of common sense reforms so we can make it a little better and we all get about living our lives?
Now, when are you going to run yourself?
I can't afford to run, to tell you the God's honest truth. I mean, I can't take 2 years off. I wouldn't be able to pay my bills, especially not after I've been squeezed dry like I have been. I do my part, but...
Well, you certainly sound like you've got common sense and you're level-headed. You're completely different, 100%, 180 degrees different than a lot of the incumbents, actually all the incumbents that are in now.
Yeah, that's probably why I'm not running. You don't really make it too far having common sense and telling the truth, do you? Really, it's telling the truth. You look at these things, you look at, I hear this all the time. You hear stuff like Medicare for all. All right, fine, I'll go with Medicare for all. Just got to give me a couple conditions. First condition, you have to apply GAAP accounting. No longer can the government not apply the same accounting that it does for everything. Secondly, Medicare for all has to be all. That means everybody from Obama on downward has to participate. No longer do government workers get a better deal. They must take Medicare. That means if Obama's kid's sick and Medicare doesn't have it, the doctor doesn't cover it, he has to pay cash or not get treated. Otherwise, it isn't really Medicare for all, it's Medicare for everybody but the government.